Mayor Gerardo Sanchez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Africa Luna Carrasco,
Present.
Councilmember Mario Buchanan Jr.,
Present.
Councilmember Luis Cabrera,
Present.
Councilmember Jose Ponce,
Present.
Councilmember Matias Rosales,
Present.
Councilmember Gloria Torres.
Present.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Councilmember Ponce, could you lead us with the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Let's pray. Father, we thank you tonight again for your goodness and your gracious blessings that you have given to every single individual that's here tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to meet again, giving us life and liberty in the pursuit of happiness. And we pray that the items that we have on the agenda tonight, that you would just allow us to be united in mind to use our wisdom again and the wisdom that you depart to us for those decisions that need to be made. We thank you for just the ability to be here again tonight and all of the blessings again that you've given to us. We ask it in your name we pray. Amen.
We're going to go ahead and go with the proclamations and presentations. 4A, September 2021, Library Card Sign-Up Month.
September 2021 Library Card Sign-Up Month. Whereas a library card is the most essential school supply of all. Whereas library resources serve students of all ages from early literacy to STEAM programs to research databases. Whereas a library card gives students the tools that foster success in the classroom and beyond. Whereas a library card empowers all people to pursue their dreams and explore new passions and interests. Whereas libraries are constantly transforming and expanding services to meet the evolving needs of their communities. Now therefore, Gerardo Sanchez, Mayor of the City of San Luis, hereby proclaims September 2021 Library Card Sign-Up Month in San Luis, Arizona, and encourages everyone to sign up for their own library card today. Passed and adopted this 25th day of August 2021.
Do we have anyone from the library?
It is my understanding that we do, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. How you doing? I just want to make sure that we thank you for the service you provide our community. I remember when they built the library, people would say, well, people are not going to use the library. No, they use it a lot, and you're a resource for our kids and also our adults. We really appreciate what the library, what Yuma County is doing for us, and the library is just it's fundamental for a lot of our kids. So please thank your staff and thank the county, please, for everything you provide, the services you provide. And so I just want to say thank you.
Well, thank you, and thank you to the City of San Luis for the support that you provide to the library and to the patrons, and look forward to seeing you in the library. We have programs, we have many materials, so thank you.
Perfect, thank you. We're going to go ahead with item number 4B, presentation on the development of the future Veterans Memorial Park. Mr. Galaviz.
More comfortable down here. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. Really excited about bringing this for you to view. First, I'd like to thank the committee that was involved, council members, Vice Mayor, department staff, consultant Ralph Velez and Judge Guerrero. This was a project that I know council has been supporting and wanted to move forward. And so tonight, I just wanted to give you a brief summary of the design concept that we approved. So this is where we started off with the idea. This is located on Main, right across the Catholic Church. This is something Public Works Director Loco Vera we kind of brainstormed and went out to the site and kind of looked at it. And so this is what we imagined. This is, and it's kind of hard, but it's a bigger view. This is working with Dolan Robbins and J2 Engineering with the support of council with the funding. This is the conceptual design that we came up with, looking at other cities and municipalities that had veterans parks, and the opportunity to be able to present this to our city in the future, and have parking, pedestrian accessibility, and an opportunity to share with our veterans to commemorate and remember them with this design. You see that we have the pavers with the stars, and that's something that we looked at other veterans parks, and was something that I think it will stand out for this park. This park will be, we're going to use wrought iron fencing. This is a veterans park, and it has the ability to, the entrance and exit to have public access when we want it, but also the opportunity to gate it and close it for commemorative days throughout the year, that we can hold different events to do those things. And of course, it's going to come with a variety of amenities on the inside. First is going to be, the commemorative plates for all the armed services and the flags that will be presented. One of the things that we were asked to do is, have a big, the big flag that would be able to flown during those special holidays, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 9/11. And so we're going to have that option there where people driving up if you look, they're going to look out to the east and they will see that giant flag for those special occasions. But throughout the year, then we'll have the regular size flag, but we wanted to have that opportunity so people could see and highlight those days and events. Of course, this will have the opportunity to recognize our local veterans with the wall and their nameplates, again, recognizing their service. This is a place that we look to as a reflection kind of area where veterans or families of veterans can come and reflect back on the past and in the future, but put to honor those veterans. And this is an opportunity in the future for the city to do the same in this area. We also we understand that, families are involved in the Veterans Park because veterans have their families. And, we will have kids. So we wanted an area where kids would be able to participate, have some fun, while maybe mom and dad or relatives are, in the other site reflecting on the memories. And so we're looking at military-themed playgrounds, something that would be local. We thought about the jet, and then maybe the Stars and Stripes. So that would be an opportunity for a play area for those families while they're there at the Veterans Park. Of course, we're working on different amenities, and part of the committee, Chief Jessup and Judge Guerrero will be working on doing some outreach to provide opportunities to get these different amenities, a fighter jet, maybe a little Spitfire plane, helicopter. And this helicopter that you see, the picture on your right, That's another park, and we thought that would be something that would be ideal and at the same time be a perfect place for a picture, but also out of the ways of people climbing onto it. Again, these are all, the Hummer, and these are all really symbolic of what locally residents have seen and what is used around the world defending our country. Again, this is a closer view with the stars, the layout. There'll be a wall entrance to commemorate the Veterans Park that will face the west. And there are opportunities for families to come and pay their respects. The partnerships, we're going to look forward to, working with different agencies. When it comes to the pavers, plaques, different opportunities to be able to help support the park, but at the same time, add amenities to the park and the cost, the expense of putting it together. This is, the next slide is where we get to the funds, the expense. And this is just kind of a breakdown, a cost estimate. The $196,887 is just for the hardscape, which is kind of sidewalks. You can just kind of read there, the surfacing, the entry walls, those kind of things. These are the site amenities, the benches, the flagpoles, street signage, just different things inside and around the park. And at the end of it, the total cost estimate would be $732,228. Of course, this varies with sponsorships, partnerships, and that will be something that, as we move forward, is what we'll be working on. The next step will be working with BLM. We need to work with community development on the land and providing, getting that permission to be able to improve that area. And so that will be our next step. And hopefully we'll continue working with the committee and moving that forward, and also with all the other sponsorship opportunities and partnerships to really make this come about for our community. I don't know if anyone had any questions.
I just want to say a comment that the Veterans Park is something that's needed, especially for those who have given the ultimate sacrifice. It's something that we need to recognize because we do have a lot of veterans, and we still have a lot of active members in the military that come from San Luis. And it looks like a big price tag, it really is. But I think once the community gets involved, once the different business and organizations, not only in San Luis, but in Yuma County, let's make sure we make contact with our Congressman Grijalva and see if we can get some federal funding in regards to that. I know he's, we're all want this to happen. And so let's work on it. It's a pricey, but it's gonna look good. And I thought we were gonna get a tank.
What's that?
Were we gonna get a tank?
Oh, it didn't come on the slide. I apologize. There is a tank that we're working on. And for some reason it didn't come out on the slideshow.
Without a tank, this is not going anywhere. Okay.
No, there is a tank.
Okay.
And
sure.
Yes, definitely a tank. And I think just to add on that, Mayor, the amenities that we want to bring will probably be really unique to any Veterans Park here locally.
Yes, it'd be good. So it's a work in progress, and I thank the committee. Thank you for spending time and effort, and Chiefs, Elogio, thank you, and McCarthy also. It's perfect corner, it really is. So let's work on it. Thank you. Any questions, comments from council?
Mayor, can I say something?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Louis. Thanks for the committee, all the efforts put on in this project.
Very good.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Doy. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Now, Mr. Locchio, 4C, a presentation regarding asbestos in waterline pipe material, informative and a regulatory summary. Thank you, Mr. Locchio, for taking the initiative. I know this topic was brought up on the call to the public, and we want to make sure that we inform our public of all the information.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. So yeah, this is an informative presentation. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but really here on the first slide, you know, we have some of asbestos cement pipe. On the left, and then on the right, we have the PVC pipe, which is now what is standard industry for water, sewer, and other pipelining projects. Asbestos, it is a known carcinogen in its form, and it is actually a natural occurring mineral. It's found in soil and rock, but really the primary route of exposure to people is through inhalation. So I just want to throw that out there. The material itself is very strong, corrosion resistant, fire resistant, lightweight, and very economical. And that's, I think, what made it so popular in early 1900s up through mid 1980s.
Mr. Locchio, for clarification, asbestos does not dissolve in water.
The what? Sorry.
Asbestos does not dissolve in water.
That is correct. That is correct.
That needs to be very clear.
And I'll spend a little bit on that in the type of testing that we do in our water, just in case there was something released from the wells. But I'll just continue with the slides and I'll cover that in a little bit. So it was very popular, and it pretty much we stopped in the U.S. We stopped using it in the mid '80s, late '80s. It is estimated that about 600,000 miles are in the ground in the U.S. and Canada. The city of San Luis is a fairly new town. We only have about 5 miles in our distribution system, which adds up to about 6% of our entire distribution system. Other cities, you know, they probably have between 30 and 50%. Several cities in Arizona have way above 50% of their distribution system is asbestos. So we only have 6% of our system. And the way we're planning to replace those pipes is really as we repair those older subdivisions. When we do the total reconstruction, that's when we will be redoing, removing these or replacing these asbestos lines. Currently, there is no regulatory requirement to replace them, and mainly because EPA, ADEQ, which governs in Arizona, know that if that asbestos is not released into the atmosphere or enough into water, is really not harmful. So there's a limit amount that's set by EPA, which is 7 million fibers per liter. In our system, we test our water. We've never been even close to 1 million fibers per liter. We checked our most recent test, and they're like 0.2, 0.3. So, and that's just because it's well water. It's coming from the soil, it's coming from the ground. So, in San Luis, we really haven't. It hasn't been a concern for us. Yes.
We test our water twice a year or just once a year?
We test based on the requirements from ADEQ. ADEQ sort of establishes our testing schedule. Different minerals get tested different times. So we test them. We get tested twice a year, but it's different minerals. It's not always the same test. Some tests are more frequent, but we take daily samples for the most concerning contaminants. And like I said, all the testing is really established by ADEQ, so we follow their guidelines. And most of the time, they follow EPA's guidelines. It was brought up to our attention, or it was inquired about, the concern about how some of the recent projects, we should have done waterline replacements. So I just want to discuss a little bit on that the life cycle for AC pipe is roughly between 70 to over 100 years. That's really estimated, the life expectancy of pipelines. We don't have the lines that old, so it's really not a concern at this time. And then the streets that recently got repaved, they were not even in the budget. Within the last 6-7 years, there was a list of about 12 streets that were really deteriorated beyond any type of pavement preservation. So we knew that had to be repaving. It has to be a repaving project. With that said, staff was trying to get those in conjunction with C management, and we were trying to get those projects in every year as funding was available. We're investing every year in pavement preservation. All these streets that we repaved in the last 3 years, they were beyond any pavement preservation. That's why they were left alone, and we knew we had to redo them. So we know that repaving that was completed, it'll probably be 15, 20 years, and we'll be redoing them again. At that time, I think it will be it'll be better to plan to replace water lines at that time. They'll be aging more. So for now, we're fine, and that's the way it was approached. It is easy to say that we can include the water lines and just with part of the project that was done. But for example, that projects that were completed, it would almost double its cost for the same street, just if we wanted to include the water line replacement. So we spent about a little bit over $800,000 in repaving. We would have been over $1.5 million if we wanted to include the water line replacement. So that's why this is something that can be done in the future. And so the use of funds, it is appropriate. The planning, it is appropriate. And we're not in any violation of any regulatory concerns from ADEQ or EPA. That is really it. I want to summarize, that the main route for exposure for asbestos is through inhalation. Is really most of the time is the exposure is a lot greater when during manufacturing or construction, demolishing, but really not from our water lines. So I just want to make that clear. I don't know if there's any questions.
I just want to have a comment, Mr. Vera. Let's make sure that our employees are aware of asbestos and how you get it. It's very important because according to what was said, an employee told them that we had asbestos lines and they were not replaced. So we want to make sure that employees are aware about the safety, about the lifespan, 70 to 80 years. We don't have any lines that are 70 to 80 years old. So just want to make sure that our employees are aware and that we test the water and based on the schedule of the EPA. So, no, thank you. Thank you for being clear. And it's a fact, we test the water. We do test the water, and we do test it for substances that, like asbestos and arsenic, and substances that are carcinogenic. So, thank you, Mr. Red. Someone has a question, concern?
So, we all, like I said, our city is not that old. Allá abajo y arriba. That subdivision down there was built in 1992, and the oldest area down there is 1990. I'm wondering if what they're seeing on Merrill when we dug that up is the Water User Association pipe, because obviously we're not that old to have.
So the areas that have asbestos, it's really right up against the port. There's a small section there. All the other ones got replaced at one time because for many years when originally the town site was built, probably some of those streets weren't even paved. So I think the city was able to replace some of those early on. But really, it's Bienestar, the first phase of Bienestar, that's one that has asbestos. And then all against Merrill, It's PVC. It's really further east up against del Desierto. It's really the part that we just repaved, and then there's another section of Los Portales also that has asbestos, but that is really it. There's nothing else. Everything else in town is PVC. I know water users doesn't use asbestos, but they use concrete.
That's what I'm wondering if they're
Concrete
thinking
pipe.
that by saying concrete, that's,
It could be because when you dig it up, looking at it,
Yeah,
it looks
looks the
like,
same.
it looks the same. Correct.
matter of educating public, hey, this is concrete piping that you're thinking. Okay, thank you.
And this presentation, just for, so you guys know, this presentation was forwarded over to the water supervisor, so that he can share with the staff. Everybody gets training on asbestos and exposure and protecting themselves when, but when we don't do work with asbestos, we hire somebody to help us with that. So we'll make sure we share with staff, that way they're aware.
And you mentioned that we only like 60%, 6% of our lines are asbestos related.
That is correct. Only 6% of our system, entire system is asbestos.
And just for the record, that 6% is not enough to cause like a health concern or issue, right?
That is correct. The existing lines is not something that would cause cancer. If we were to dig it up, break it up, you know, not protect people, and people start inhaling it, even then, you know, that's not the right way to do it, but that's when the exposure, it becomes an issue, but not in the water lines. It's not like the water lines are breaking up and releasing all this pieces of asbestos, so.
Mr. Vera, I have a request. Could you give us like a cost estimate, not right now, but on your free time, which I know you don't have,
He said free time.
on your free time, an estimate of how much would it cost to actually change that 6%? Okay, so some homework.
And just so you know, something that's in the books to be replaced, parts of Fourth Avenue have asbestos. Some of it's gonna be replaced with the intersection of Fourth Avenue. We have the designer actually here today on a different presentation, but they're adding to remove the portion that's underneath the project. So as we hit sections of roadways, you know, we'll be including it. But I can do that. I can provide an estimate of the entire replacement if we were to just try to work on that.
Yeah, no, I think a good idea how much we would need. I mean, just to make Cesar Chavez a 4-lane street, it's gonna cost us 33 million, so I can't imagine what 6% of asbestos line will cost.
So just in the slides, I didn't go through it, but it's included. The American Water Works Association estimates about $1 million per mile of asbestos replacement. From our numbers here, we're looking probably more 400, 500,000 per mile. So that's about $2.5 million to replace the 5 miles of water line.
We're looking at 2.5, 2.7. Okay.
Quick, you're free.
Yes, you got plenty of free
I'm not doing it right
time.
now. I'm just standing here. Done.
That's why we have an engineer. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vera. Any more questions or concerns?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. We are going to go ahead with the consent agenda. All matters are considered routine by City Council and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and we consider separately. Minutes of work session held August 4th, 2021. Regular council meeting held August 11th, 2021. Disbursements from August 3, 2021 to August 16, 2021. Total disbursement was $749,719.82. I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action items. Item number 6A, discussion and possible action on all matters regarding authorization to accept service agreement and enter into a contract with Flock Group and Company. Mr. Yes, Chief, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Vice Mayor, Council, thank you. The item that we're bringing to you tonight is actually one that you graciously approved through our CIP programs. But I want to share a couple things with you about the Flock Safety Program. What you'll see is it's a 2-year contract. And they are tremendously discounting this particular price for us because we're going to go 2 years. After that, it would be just a yearly contract at the same price. Several of the things that I'd like for you to be aware of is the success of this particular program. We actually asked if we could do a pilot program with them and test out to see what it would do. You noticed that there was one on 10th Avenue and the Boulevard. There was one down on 22nd Street that looked like little license plate readers and cameras and those types of things as well. And everyone was used to ask what they were. And so during that 3-month period, they said, hey, we'll even extend it to you for 6 months so that you can even look at what our program does. And so they extended it to us for 6 months, and really Lieutenant Santana was the one that brought this to our attention, and this particular program yielded some incredible returns. And I want to share what happens. Every police officer on their cell phone gets the app, and when something comes through that particular camera, or let's say that the Human Police Department puts out a suspect vehicle, but they don't have a license plate, but they give us a general description, it's entered in flock safety. And if a vehicle that even matches the description comes through, it actually sends an alert to every single one of the officers with an app. Let me give you 3 success stories of how this happened. So inside of the flock safety program, our guys were on patrol on 3 separate occasions, and this was just before our pilot program went away. And on 3 separate occasions, we recovered stolen vehicles from Arizona and out of state. We recovered individuals that had weapons, drugs, and took them off the street before they even got to Mexico. And so those are just 3 success stories, and I could probably stand up here and give you many, many, many more of the success stories, but this program is very well worth its money. There were a few items that we needed to have Kay look at. We come to those types of legal terms that just needed to be addressed, and those have been addressed. And so we feel very comfortable that this 2-year term will yield what we need to have it done. I also believe that, and I can't confirm it, that I believe Somerton and Yuma PDs are looking at the program as well. If those cities approve those, we actually can use cameras and interact with them as well. In fact, I just got a message from another flock safety department in Georgia that I could actually share their cameras with us. So this is a nationwide program, and I think that it's going to be very, very, very advantageous for us to purchase. Once we go through the initial 2 years, then it would just be added each year into our contractual services budget that we would ask for in 2 years. So we're very excited about the program. It was a tremendous pilot program, and I think it will really pay off benefits for the city and to keep our citizens safe in a very unique way.
If all I could say that this is a program that was much needed, and I'm impressed. Let's hope, and the price is very reasonable. So I honestly thought it was going to be higher, but no.
Well, our lieutenant, who's a great negotiator back there,
Thank you.
flock safety really, as Lieutenant Santana really began to put the program together and then bring it to our attention, we really spent time with those involved with flock safety who developed the program, and they just really took an interest in San Luis and what we were being able to come up with just as a result of the things that we were recovering. And so the stats really showed that this was a productive program. They've actually gone on, I think, and I think Lieutenant Santana actually gave them the statistics for some of the things that we had done, and we were very much of interest to them because we were a border city and what our statistics look like. So I think going forward, they're going to move probably to the Nogales area and some of the other areas as well to see if they can get those programs up and running, because I certainly think those of us that are in border cities, certainly we've got things that are always coming that we're not aware of, but this really gave us a great opportunity to do that. And it's interesting how it actually is almost immediately that vehicle comes through, every officer gets a hit on their app, and we're literally be able to surround, from points of interest where those police cars are at, and literally put a net over the top of it and just squeeze it right on down. I think two of them, they ended up taking down a Jack in the Box, was where two of them were, and I think the other one was relatively close to downtown as well. So the program works extremely well.
Good. Any questions, comments from council? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve contract with Flock Group Incorporated for $6,500 for the fiscal year, 2 years, approve the price. Here.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All is in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All is against? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council.
We're going to go ahead and item number 6B, discussion possible action on matters regarding subdivision case number 2021-0419F, a request by Core Engineering Group, PLC, on behalf of Greater Yuma Port Authority for the Magrina Industrial Park, Unit 4, final plat. Property is located south of County 25th Street between Avenue E and Avenue D in San Luis, Arizona. Mr. Guzman?
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members. As you mentioned, this is a request for the phase number 4 of Magrino Industrial Park. This phase will consist of 86.3 acres, and it will be 12 industrial lots, ranging in size from 2 acres to 14. As part of the unit number 1, all the required improvement districts were approved for the whole subdivision, so it covers this phase also. So this is the location map. It's south of County 25th, just north of the water. And this is the plat. The red area is the phase number 4. And this is the aerial picture. So we presented this item to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and they recommended approval with the condition that the applicant addresses review comments letter dated July 8, 2021. We received the revised plans and the response letter, and the applicant agreed to most of the comments. It was just one comment that I already spoke with the applicant and staff, and agreed that those comments are not substantial and can be addressed at the staff level during the review. So we're recommending approval, and this is the recommended motion. Also, the applicant is here if you have any questions from that.
So they're going to work on the recommendations or not work on the recommendations based on the comment letter?
Yeah, they'll work with staff on addressing the comment.
And staff is okay with that?
Yeah. It's nothing substantial or affecting infrastructure or anything like that.
Okay. Any questions from council? If not, I will now entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the Magrino Industrial Park Unit 4 final plat with the condition that the applicant addresses review comment letter dated July 8, 2021.
Second.
There was a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Thank you, Jose. Item number 6C, discussion and possible action on all matters regarding the proposed contract with Parks and Recreation Director Lisandro Galaviz to assume the additional duties of interim city manager. Kay?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This item is a follow-up to the Thursday, August 19th meeting in which Louis was appointed as the interim city manager. The agreement leaves him as director of Parks and Rec and adds on the duties of city manager. And for that, he is compensated by a 25% increase in his salary, and the base salary will be the adjusted salary rather than the one that's in place today. It would start on August 20th, and it terminates when council takes further action on the position. And then upon termination, the city code would not apply. Usually at the end of a city manager's term, they would have a 30-day appeal period and be paid 30 days. But since this is an interim position, we made sure in this contract he would just go back to being a department head. And I think that is the highlights of the agreement. And I had Monica double check the calculations to make sure it followed the contract, and she assured me this morning that everything was correct.
Any questions from council? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move to approve the interim city manager's contract as presented for Lisandro Galaviz.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against?
Nay.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Summer current events. Actually, we put, we're gonna go with call to the public first. This is a time for public to comment. Members of the city council may not discuss items that are specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.018, action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directed staff and any matters responding to any criticism or scheduling for matters for further consideration and discussion at a later date. Do we have,
Yes, Mayor, we have Columba Nunez.
okay, please?
Buenas tardes, miembros del concilio. Buenas tardes, Mayor Gerardo Sánchez. Mi nombre es Columba Núñez, soy residente de San Luis, Arizona. Vivo en la 146 North Jenkins Avenida. Vengo nada más a exponer una queja. Está cerrado el Senior Center, a mí no se me informó. Sábado y domingo estuvieron haciendo llamadas, yo me presenté el lunes, a mí no se me informó, yo no sé por qué. Bueno, entiendo, ¿verdad? Que así está la situación, así es esa persona, ni modo. Y otra cosa también vengo a exponer acerca de la situación de mi esposo. Por si muchos no lo saben, Jan Starkey no se retiró porque él quería. Ahí lo presionaron, lo pucharon, lo humillaron, lo insultaron para que él decidiera irse. Una persona que con high school diploma, ganando más de $100,000, no sabía su trabajo, lo acosaba, lo humillaba. El señor Vélez varias veces le preguntó, ¿cuándo te retiras? ¿Cuándo te retiras? Y Jan estresado, humillado, con miedo, venía a trabajar el señor Jan Starkey. Yo entendí, yo lo comprendí todo, su vida, los últimos años estuvo bien frustrado, estresado con esta administración. Y el señor Vélez le dijo la última vez que habló con él, Jan, puedes irte para inspector, pero tu salario va a bajar a la mitad. Jan estresado, confundido, ¿por qué me hacen eso? ¿Por qué? Le digo, Jan, piensa bien lo que vas a hacer, yo te entiendo. Están en el poder, tú no puedes hacer nada. Con una persona con más de 30 años de experiencia, con credenciales de universidad, que todo el mundo, sus trabajadores lo apoyaban, lo estimaban, no pudo hacer nada hasta el final. Tuvo que renunciar, por si no sabían. Él no se quería ir, él amaba esta comunidad, la amaba, porque él estaba seguro que lo necesitaban. Siendo él que renunció, todavía sus empleados buscaban asesoría de él. Y yo le decía, Jan, ¿por qué lo haces? Porque quiero ayudarles, me necesitan, estoy con ellos, aunque me hayan pagado mal. No importa, estoy con ellos. Estoy por eso que vengo a poner mi voz, para que escuchen por qué mi esposo se retiró. Lo echaron fuera de la ciudad, de la mano lo echaron para afuera. Él no quería retirarse. Entonces yo exijo y respeto para todos los trabajadores de la ciudad que el nuevo administrador, aquí le doy las gracias, lo felicito, que sean todos los empleados y gente tratada con respeto, como se merecen, tratadas y con dignidad. Espero mucho de esta persona porque yo conozco su trayectoria, él me conoce a mí, que somos unas personas que hemos servido a la comunidad de voluntariado sin esperar nada y ayudando. Y a usted, señor Mayor Sánchez, también lo apoyé, usted recuerda, y me arrepiento mucho de haberlo ayudado. Mucho, mucho me arrepiento, porque usted fue uno de los principales verdugos para mi esposo. Él no se fue porque él quería. Les doy las gracias por escucharme y buenas tardes a todos.
No one else?
That is all, Mayor.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and go with the summary current events. Events by mayor, city council members, and/or city manager present to ARS 38-431.02. Anyone from council? I just want to say that I got an invitation by Senator Cinema to join her in regards to the future structure of the Port of Entry 1. I was very fortunate to be there, and it passed the Senate. Thanks to Senator Cinema and also Mark Kelly. They worked both with Democrats and Republicans, and that got passed. So it's up to the House of Representatives now to pass. In that bill, the city of San Luis will obtain the $147 million required to finalize Port of Entry 1. Douglas will get close to $300 million for a new port and also restructuring of their old port. The city of Nogales will get funding for all the necessary studies. They estimate the cost of their problem close to probably $1 billion. The funding for their studies. So we're also, Calexico will be getting funding also, close to $300 million. They're investing in our ports, finally. So it's a good thing. She was very positive, but you can invest in infrastructure, but now you have to invest in the personnel. We're gonna have 17 lanes, but we need to make sure that we have enough staffing for those lanes. One of the big concerns that was discussed was with the increase in traffic. As we speak right now, close to 14,000 people cross this border, and that's with restrictions. When they lift those restrictions, the vehicle traffic will increase, the pedestrian traffic will increase. With 17 lanes, the number of traffic that will commute in our city will be twice as much. So I assured them that I assured them that the governor was ready as long, the ADOT can't be doing things without being approved. So everything looks good. It really now dependent on the House of Representatives. That's where our Congressman Grijalva and everyone else is crucial for this decision. The Senate it has always been the hardest place to get the funding. Last time we lost funding in the Senate. And so this time, basically they approved it. So we're hoping that we get final closure, and hopefully we'll get the funding, the $147 million that are required. Senator Cinema will be working for staff now, make sure that we have proper staff. So we will continue working, and she was very grateful for the city of San Luis, and we are very grateful for what she's doing for our country and for the state of Arizona, along with Mark Kelly and the whole Arizona delegation. So it was an interesting hour and a half, and it was very informative. We had the ribbon cutting this morning for a new development, Valencia Estates, and it's something that it's different, it's new. The lots are going to be bigger. The homes, they're going to be a minimum home requirement. There's going to be a home association instead of districts. So it's something different for San Luis, and I think it's time. I spoke to the investors, and they're willing to invest in San Luis. San Luis, I reminded everyone, that is the fastest growing community. Our census number, we're low, but we're still at 35,000. They projected between 39 and 40,000. I was talking to the mayors today, and the city of Somerton actually lost residents. The city, the projected growth for Yuma, they projected over 109,000, but they ended up close to, I believe, 97. They're looking at their data. We're looking at our data. we're definitely have to look at our data because we are definitely close to 39, 40,000. One of the things about the population numbers, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, once we hit 50, Ralph, we're at a different range in regards to funding, to infrastructure, like the city of Yuma. So, but we still compete with cities like Scottsdale that have a whole economic development department. We have one, but limited staff. And she does a great job in her staff. But we compete with cities that have a whole department. We have 20, 25 people working for economic development. So we're still in competition. We're still competitive. But our numbers showed close to a 27% increase compared to our last. I'm interested in the demographics. We were, in our previous 2010 census, we were a very young community. The average age was between the ages of 18 and 26. The vast majority of our residents, and I don't think that has changed. So compared to other communities where they have a higher, older population, we are getting a very young. With those requirements, we're talking about we're going to need new homes, we're going to need parks, we're going to need schools, we're going to need entertainment, we're going to need jobs, and the census is so important. But they were favorable, but they could have been better. I would like to thank staff. No other city participated and did what you guys did. We went out door by door, and we knocked on doors. We were at the park. We were doing the different caravanas, and it worked. The city of Somerton, the mayor, when we talked today in our meeting, he said we should have done that. Yep, we did it. And I'm so grateful for our employees. And we did this when we were having a pandemic, and we went out and actually did it. And I thank you for it. And the numbers show. And so there's a lot more participants. The county saw a growth. I believe it's like 7% or something like that, but they saw a growth also. But the community that showed the highest growth was the city of San Luis. And the numbers don't lie, the number of homes and the number of developments that are coming our way are more. And so on percentage-wise, the city of San Luis is still growing, and it's still one of the fastest growing community in the state of Arizona. So congratulate staff. Thank you, administration. Thank you for everything, Ralph, everyone, and council. Thank you for your support, because without your support, we won't be able to do the programs like we did for the city in regards to the census. So it's a group effort. So let's continue working, and that's it. Anyone else? If not, I will now entertain a motion going to executive session.
Mayor.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. We're going to go into executive session.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. I will now take a motion.
Mayor, I move to ratify and approve the engagement of the law firm Dixon Wright to represent the city regarding Advanced Call Center Technologies LLC breaches and its and other people or entity violations of law, and I move to authorize the city manager, the office of the city attorney, and the outside legal counsel to take all actions necessary to resolve current violations of law and breaches of the lease of the commercial space at 580 North San Luis Plaza Drive, San Luis, Arizona, including without limitation, settlement, mediation, arbitration, and/or litigation.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? Motion carries. Have a good night. Thank you.